Can you go to hell for not knowing God, not knowing the terms Jesus, Yahweh, Jehovah? Can you go to hell for not knowing God? I'm not talking about like I'm talking about people who just doesn't know God's existence, who really doesn't know God, doesn't know Jehovah, doesn't know Jesus, literally doesn't know, have never heard these names in their life, don't even know what the term Bible is, never heard of it, none of that. Short answer, yes, they do go to hell for not knowing God. Oh, hold up. I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, then that means they can't help but go to hell. So that means it's just, God's just being ignorant because they can't help but go to hell. And because they don't know God. Nah. Like, people be all like, so God doesn't show any signs of his existence. And he still expects us to know him like that. No. God does show signs, whether they're subtle or obvious. You just got to look for them. Like, the difference between us Christians and non-Christians is that, like, we see the same things when it comes to God's existence. We've seen the same things. We've heard the same things, whether they're obvious or clever and subtle. We see the same things, but we have our own perspective of these things. The difference between us and them is that we know who is the mastermind behind all of this. They don't. But it's like us, when it comes us and the atheists and stuff, it's like this. We see by believing. They believe by seeing. So it's like God does show signs. You just got to look for them. You got to pay attention. Like, remember when I said, if God isn't real, why do our minds have a mind of its own? Like how our minds just be automatically giving us answers to our questions, telling us what directions to go, what paths to take, what clothes to wear, what this to wear, what food to eat, suggestions, like our mind just automatically giving us directions, just literally helping us, telling us what to do, what to say, etc. Like, regardless of what anybody says, if you've always known these automatic suggestions that our brain puts into our heads, then we know everything. We are literally perfect in thought. And I mean, like, literally knowing everything. Everybody has this mind that has a mind of its own, whether you know God or not. God is the culprit behind that. But it's just that some people are too fickle to even try to listen to that voice, like to know who that is. That little glance you make at this weird looking house with a cross on it, that's God. He's just gentle and allows you to ignore it based on your free will. That time when a group of people be jokingly having strange conversations, not really knowing you as a person, just not knowing your situation, not knowing your name, not knowing all of that. That time when people be having these strange conversations that relate to your situation as if they knew you and that they've always known you, like they know everything about you. Literally replying to your thoughts. No matter how mysterious you claim, no matter how mysterious you claim to be, it's like these people know you. Like, that is also God talking to you. Like, when people be having these strange conversations that you know would be really, really weird, extremely weird, being extremely weird if you were to have these conversations yourself, because you know these little tasteless jokes are not funny. Like, be humble, or something like that. You know it would be weird if you were to have these conversations. That is literally God talking to you through that conversation that a group of people be having. Like, one time I had like ex-ish friends. I have like I had ex-friends. Me and God were literally having a conversation about something. I thought of something rebellious. And then God immediately convicted my thoughts through these people. These people do not remember. I'm pretty sure they won't remember. I don't know. But it's like God convicted my thoughts through the conversations that they're having in detail. They were saying in such a joking way, like, yeah, but the words that comes with the joke came from God. Then after we ate, we did everything, we went back to the car, everybody's just talking to each other. I look back at the situation and we're like kind of in denial, like, did I just get convicted by the Holy Spirit through this group of people? And then those group of people, they were talking. God was talking to me through them. They said, they literally repeat what I said. Did God just convicted me through these people? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. True story. The fact that we shallow individuals who always looks on the outside, who always need to see right in front of them, who always needs to see right in front of us to believe. But at the same time, our gut tells us somebody is right behind you where your eyes can't see unless you turn around. And then you know what I'm talking about. Nature. Some people never question nature. Like, people don't ask themselves, like, why are the trees so green? Why is the sky so blue? Nature could have been looking like a cutesy, aesthetic-y, pastel-y type of world. Okay, it could have looked like that. Like those pinkish camera filters. But it just looks the way it is. Some parents be like, I want a boy. Why do I have a girl? I want twins. Why do I have one child? I only want one child. why am I an octomom? Octomoms are like people who could have like eight or more children in one big womb. They exist. Look it up. Personalities. Like, some parents be like, I want my child to be an engineer and study math every day. But unfortunately, he hates math and would rather cosplay every day and speak Japanese. How dare he disrespect me? How dare he disrespect me with his individuality? Regardless of beliefs, everybody has experienced God in one way or another. You just got to listen. People always like to say, people like to say like the mother and the father, they create the children. I mean, the mother gives birth to the children, but they can't decide how their child is going to look. They can't decide what personality their child is going to have. Like, there are parents who want like a certain type of child, but they ended up getting a different type of child. So the reason why people who don't know God, who perish for not knowing God, is because they don't try to know God. They don't try to listen. Okay? Like, regardless of how subtle these signs are, they have always been in their faces. They were just too fickle to realize it. Not trying to know God is a sin that they are held accountable for. Like, sometimes people, like, you can even see the most obvious stuff and still not believe it. It happens. One time I saw a video of a comedian who was a stand-up comedian, constantly mocking God. And then suddenly, like, not only that she was mocking God, she was blasphemous. She was speaking blasphemies about it. And then she suddenly passed out because of a skull fracture. And you just know that person is usually healthy. There's no way that stuff just happens. And then after a couple of nights at the hospital, she had to do the interview, and she was like, yeah, it happened, but that wasn't God. That was the wind doing all of that. So I'm going to keep doing me. Excuse me. That is fickle. That is stubborn. There are people who did mock God who went blind for a couple of days and then got their sight back. I saw this one testimony of this anonymous individual who was talking about how she was mocking God to the point where all of a sudden the windows burst, as if a gang of people bursted through their windows. But nobody came through the windows. The windows just exploded. That sudden reaction, that was God saying, oh, so you want to try me? You think I'm playing? You want a reaction from me? You got it. I brought you to this world. I could take you right out. What's up? These hands are for humbling. You want to catch them? Because I don't play. Don't try this at home, people. Don't mock God. God may be loving and all, but he can act like a demon when you mess with him. Like, he can act like a demon in a haunted house if you mock him. Like, keep mocking him for a reaction. You cannot. Don't do it. And if you find yourself laughing at a God joke, just ask God, like, hey, Lord, please make me stop. Please help me. I can't help laughing. I can't help laughing. He will shut that smile off right away. I've done this before. Like, I rarely laugh at Jesus jokes. But whenever I be laughing at anything that I shouldn't be laughing at, I just be like, God, or something that I'm not sure if I should or shouldn't be laughing at, I'd be like, God, if you don't like this humor, please stop me from laughing. And he does it immediately. There are times I'd be like, if you ask him in faith, he'll help you stop. So back to the topic of people perishing because of a lack of knowledge of God. And I'm talking about like people going to hell for not even knowing the term Jehovah, Jesus, Bible, Christian slang. God has always shown signs of his existence. It's just that even though few may understand, many are too stubborn to realize it. And they choose to ignore it. The Lord can show himself in the most obvious ways. But a majority of people are never going to get it. Only a minority of people can get it, but a majority of people are not going to get it. If we see God's true form, like God's real true form face to face, we would be DED. DED. Okay, we would not be here. Other obvious ways that God can show himself, like any kind of other obvious ways that God can show himself, not the ones seeing him face to face like that. There's like other obvious ways. It's like people would either find it like life is annoying, they'll find it like life being annoying to them, or just brush it off like it was normal. There is no better way that God can show himself. And no matter how he shows himself, it's never going to be truly enough. God can do anything, but he cannot sin without it counting as a sin. Like, if God can win any battle, but he cannot win everybody's hearts without controlling or forcing these hearts to be one, like forcing people to believe in him. The best he can do is come to this earth as another individual named Jesus Christ to pay the wages for our sins and die on the cross. So when it comes to people who go to hell for not knowing God, like not only that, for not trying to know God, God may be subtle about it, but he tried. Like, the reason why God's existence is so subtle and not very obvious is simply because he can't win. He just can't. He really can't win. Like, so the best he can do to show signs of his existence without sinning is just be clever with it and use it to communicate with us, even though he knows that a majority of people will not believe no matter what. But another reason why God does it so cleverly, why God shows signs of his existence, talks to them cleverly, it's not only about that, but it's like he does it for the sake of us. He does it for the sake of us staying sane and staying alive. Jesus really does try, like, but at the same time, the reason why it was so clever, because he can't win. So Jesus was his best, was Yahweh's best.